There are two basic needs that human beings have. One is for attachment. Now, attachment is absolutely essential for human survival. Attachment is actually a biological drive. It's an instinct to be close to another person. Why do we have that drive? Because without it, we can't survive. The human infant is the most helpless, most dependent, least capable creature in the universe. And so without an attachment drive that calls that infant to come close to the mother, to be taken care of, or to the father, to the parenting figures, and without an equivalent attachment drive on the part of the parenting figure to be close to the baby, there's no survival of the infant. Reptiles can get away with it, birds can't, mammals can't, and least of all can human beings. So the attachment drive is like a gravitational force that pulls two bodies together for the purpose of being taken care of, or to take care of the other. So that attachment drive is not negotiable. We can't survive without it, nor could we have survived as individuals as we evolved from our pre-hominid ancestors, and over millions of years, or hundreds of thousands of years, people had to attach to each other in small groups in order to survive. So that's just a basic need. But we have another need that's also important in the long term, and that need is for authenticity. And authenticity means knowing what you feel in your guts and being able to act on it. That's how important it is. And when you think of human evolution, or think of any animal out there in the wild today, just how long does an organism, a creature, survive out there in the wild if they're not in touch with their gut feelings? So we have these two important needs: attachment and authenticity. Auto, the self, being in touch with ourselves. Now, that's fine. But what if you're 2 years old and your mother doesn't give you another cookie before dinner? So you do what a 2-year-old does when they don't get another cookie. You throw a tantrum. And then you get the message, good little kids don't get angry. You might even be punished. So the message that the angry child gets is not that good little kids don't get angry, but that angry little kids don't get loved. No, what I told you was that the attachment drive is not negotiable. If I get the message that my healthy anger, which is just expressing how I'm feeling, is unacceptable and threatens my attachment relationship because I'm going to lose the parent if I do it, what do you suppose I'll do? What do you think is going to get sacrificed? The attachment? Impossible. In every case, the authenticity is going to be sacrificed, and now we become separated from ourselves. What you're really telling me is that sometime in your childhood, you learned that it was safer for you to ignore your gut feelings than to pay attention to them. And I'm not saying that your parents meant to teach that to you. I don't doubt for a moment that they did their best, but that was their best because of the way this society raises children and stresses parents. The result is a lot of people who are completely disconnected from themselves and who are not in touch with their feelings. The point is that the personality that we develop is not actually a reflection of our true selves. Very often it's their defenses against the loss of love. And so it's not us. And illness comes along when we're not being ourselves. When you don't get the attention that you needed as a child, as an infant, you'll be consumed by attracting attention. And now you're going to be very attractive. Now, how many times have you passed a mirror without wondering if you're attractive enough? You're just looking for love. if you didn't get the approval that you needed as a child just for existing, just for being who you were, you will want to be winning approval all the time. You'll be a winning personality. If you weren't valued, you want to measure up. If you weren't made to feel special just because for who you were, you might be demanding. If you weren't made to feel important for just who you were, then you go to medical school like I did, and you want to make yourself important. If you weren't liked for who you were, you're going to be very nice, so that people will like you, so that you can have this simulacrum of love. If you weren't loved, you'll be very charming. And people say, what a charming guy, what this person is. But all of this demands that you actually suppress your own feelings. Now, how does that lead to illness? It leads to illness because it's very stressful always to be playing a role. It's actually stressful. And there's always the fear behind it. It's fear-driven. And fear is a state of being in stress. People chronically stressed, we know, have diminished activity of their immune system. So for example, people who are bereaved and after a strong, close relationship, of course, depending on the level of social support they have, but the more alone they are, the more likely they're going to have a high level of a stress response, and you can measure activity of the immune system as being diminished. And people who are lonely get sick faster and they die quicker of their diseases. After you're stressed and you have these high levels of stress hormones which are affecting your immune system, and if you're all alone with it for months, you might be in trouble. But if there's a friend of yours sitting next to you and says, hey friend, hey sweetheart, hey buddy, you seem upset, do you want to talk about it? What happens to your stress hormones? Your nervous system relaxes, your heart rate decreases, your intestinal muscles in the gut relax, and your stress hormone levels go way down. We're biopsychosocial creatures. And so these patterns of emotional self-suppression, they promote illness in part because they leave us completely alone. Because whether we're alone or not does not depend on how many friends we have. Social support is not the same as being merely in the presence of others. The critical issue is reciprocity, being truly heard and seen by the people around us, feeling that we're held in someone else's heart and mind. But if I'm suppressing who I am, nobody's ever going to see me. And I might be very nice, and there might be 1,000 people who love me, but none of them know me. And I'm totally isolated, really at heart.